Coming up in this captain's vlog, I pile some chain and line into the ocean.
Just like coiled up in a big heap.
There's a bum at the bow. And I discover the nature of water.
Having never done this before, I can safely say, ooh, these ropes are wet.
This is the story of how a man with no boat ownership experience embarked on his sailboat life dream with very little money, a talent for telling stories, and a deep desire to know the sea. I'd like to thank my patrons for helping make all this possible. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, or help out financially by clicking my Patreon link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and on with the show.
All right, well, welcome back to my sailing channel, and today we are definitely sailing. I've been trying to get out at least once a week onto the open ocean to practice my skills. Yesterday it was blowing 20, 30 knots, and it was above my pay grade. So I waited till today, and today is lovely and calm, maybe too little wind. I maybe have 5 knots. Not much, and the sea is like really lumpy, and there's like big swell and then smaller waves coming on top of the big swell, which I've never really seen before. This must be aftermath of yesterday's big gale, so that's interesting. Well, I think the object of today's adventure is to do a little bit of sailing. We don't have a ton of wind, so never mind, but and then to head back to like that Doran Beach area and lay down the anchor again and see if I can do it right. I have a snubber that I want to use. I've never used a snubber before, so I feel like today, since the sailing is not so great, everything's flogging around, making a racket, that I'm going to head back there shortly and play around with the anchor. The wind was a little strange this morning. It was like coming out of the south. Normally it's coming out of the northwest, which is right over there. This morning it was coming out of the south, which is like over that way. Yeah, sort of. Which made sailing up the channel kind of problematic. I basically motored the whole way. But instead of like doing that little turnaround, what I did is I just like nosed up into the channel, which is basically into the wind. And I set R2-D2 on the helm and was able to raise the mainsail as I was going up the main channel without really stopping, which was good. I decided that I would actually wear a radio instead of just using the radio that's in the boat that I spent all that time and energy and money on putting up antennas and whatnot for. I realized that if anything were to happen to me, the most likely scenario is that I fall off the boat by myself. And in that case, a radio on the boat is not going to do me any good at all. So I do have this like little handheld radio that is supposed to be waterproof and seems pretty good. I don't know what the range is on it, but yeah, the idea being that if the worst case scenario happened and I was to go over the side and my boat sailed off without me, the radio on the boat's not going to do me any good at all. All right, so the plan here is I picked a spot on the chart that's up there about 500 yards, I suppose. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna round up into the wind, I'm gonna stow the head sail, and then I'm gonna drop the anchor. I'm gonna leave the main up, just because I think that it's probably better to get the anchor down, at least partially, and then remove the sail. That's the plan. I'm watching my progress on this little Navionics chart. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Anxiety. Whew. I picked a spot on the chart that says 15 feet of water. Currently moving at 2.4 knots. So we're getting into the wind shadow of Bodega Head. I was going 3.5 knots, but that's fine, slow is good. My major concern is like screwing everything up, not getting the hook down, and then I just drift onto the beach back there, which would be awful. So I'm anxious. Depth says 22 feet. Gosh, I feel so close to the land. It's not that close. It doesn't look that close on the chart, but it's right there. All right, there's that. I've got 1.2 knots over ground, so I'm barely creeping in. Now I can hear the breakers on the beach over there. Scary. All right, still says I'm at 20 feet. Let me check my chart here. All right, that's good enough. It's right up into the wind, and then anchors away. So I put down 10 meters of chain. 10 meters is approximately 32 feet, and I'm in 20 feet of water. What I want to do now is just let the boat drift downwind and let that anchor set, because that's the idea, is that you don't want to dump all the chain on one big pile. You want it to kind of like lay it out. So I'm hoping that's what we're doing. Or I'll do it a little bit at a time, actually, and we'll see if that works. Because again, you don't want to dump all your chain into one big pile on the bottom of the ocean where it could get tangled and snagged. You want to lay it down so it's nice and flat. Wow, I'm anchored right off the beach. I don't know if you can see, but it's Doran Beach right there. I'll show you in a second. I go and take the sails down now. Next thing is to set up the snubber. I want to try using a snubber. Before I do that, I'm going to take a piss, because when you're sailing alone and you can't have somebody hold the helm for you, it's very difficult to go down below and take a piss. And I don't really like peeing over the side, because I've been told by more than one person that that's usually when you fall off the boat, is when you're trying to take a piss. And there are stories of the Coast Guard. They say that they find fishermen and people dead in the water with their pants down because they were taking a piss and they fell overboard, and that was the last anybody heard of them. So I like to pee indoors when possible. All right, so here I am on anchorage. I gotta say the flies aren't very nice, but it's pretty rolly. It's a very rolly anchorage, and I am going to now experiment with putting the snubber on the anchor chain. I think it's called a snubber. Correct me if I'm wrong. Could be called something completely different. But here's a quick peek at my new backyard. That's Doran Beach right there. You hear the foghorn of Bodega Head that's right there. So that's the channel that goes into Bodega Bay, and then you go that way and you go that way or whatever. There's all of Doran Beach. Interesting fun fact, Doran Beach is actually a man-made beach. So when they dredged out the channel that goes into the actual marina, they took all the dredgings, piled it up along here, and that became Doran Beach. They obviously added all the stones and created the inlet and whatnot, but yeah, a lot of people don't know that. It's man-made. And another fun fact is right over there, that's Bodega Head. There's a spring, there's a natural spring right over there that the natives used to use. And then some real geniuses came along and thought it would be a good idea to put a nuclear power plant right there. And they actually went as far as, I think, building like a foundation for something, and then got shut down, thankfully, by somebody who had some sense. Because we are literally sitting on the San Andreas Fault. Goes well, it doesn't start over there, but it's follows that line right there. Goes all the way up through here and cuts right across Bodega Head. And so that would have been a terrible place for a nuclear power plant. All right, so back on track here. Whoa. Very, very rolly. And you can see that the anchor is going like straight down. Snubber unit, I think it's called a snubber, I'm not entirely sure. It's a Mantis product, so it came with the Mantis anchor. It's a very nice anchor, and the windlass here, a Lumar. I think that's popular. I think this is called a snubber. Doesn't say what it is. It's a mantis anchors. Doesn't say what it is. I think it's a snubber. Anyway, so here we go. All right, so I believe this just goes. Oy. Not exactly easy to get to. This goes like that somehow, and then it closes. I have to tie these lines off. Yes. Like, I don't know how far you're supposed to let it out. All the way? I guess we'll try all the way. All right. That feels like it's not doing anything at all. It's just like coiled up in a big heap. These lines are too long. I discovered that there's a button up here that I can press to raise it up. It won't go down, but I can raise it up. Like that. Same thing on the other side. There's very little wind right now, and there's no current right here that I can speak of. So the fact that like the anchor is looking straight down like that, it doesn't surprise me. Having never done this before, I can safely say, ooh, these ropes are wet. Okay, I don't know if I got this right, and actually I would love to hear some people on the internet what they might have to think about it. Again, it's not very windy right now, but it's basically just going straight down like that, and then these are tight, and there's a bit of play in the chain, but everything's going straight down. And every time I see this, like in the movies or whatever, it's always like super windy day, and so it's like pulling out in front, and it looks all nice and neat. But I think that's correct. Just have both ends tied off on the bow cleats. I just don't know if I did that right, and if there is a better way to do it, I would love to hear about it. So I'm counting on you, internet. Many times on like little adventures like this, I completely forget about eating. Whoa. We are now in a rolly anchorage, and I am going to take a moment to actually put some food in my body. So I don't know if you remember a couple episodes ago, I made some dinner. It was just like a vegetable roast thing, and I did something very similar last night. So now I'm going to show you how I make soup in a rolly anchorage. So there's my leftover vegetables still in the pot from yesterday evening. They should be fine. And then I just add a can of Campbell's spicy chicken noodle, which is my favorite of their brand. Just like that. Turn the gas on. All right, that's how I make soup. And there it is. I don't know if you can see, but it's spicy chicken noodle with extra Brussels sprouts and carrots and potato. We keep like, the wind will push us one way and we'll fetch up into the wind and we'll push us the other way, but I don't think we're dragging. It's all very strange to sit still and relax on a boat. I guess it takes practice, but I guess one of the reasons I'm not very hungry is I'm just concentrating on what's going on and just not thinking about food. Finished my soup, or tried to finish it anyway. It's so difficult for me to eat. It's not that I'm seasick. I don't feel sick at all. It's really, I feel good. It's just not hungry and focused on a million other things. So I am going to save the rest for later. And I'm gonna pick up my anchor and I'm gonna get out of here. So let's see how far we get with this bad. lot of chain out. I had actually 30 meters or more of chain out, so I didn't see one of these little colors without breaking anything. All right. We are off the ground, drifting towards the beach. Oh my God. I really ought to have my life jacket on. All right, here we go. Heading back down the channel. I'm gonna wrap this up as I just head back in from Doran Beach, saying goodbye to Doran Beach. Spent the afternoon here. It was very, very nice. A little rolly, but I didn't mind it so much. It takes some getting used to. Certainly in the most rolly anchorage I've ever been in. It's kind of the only anchorage I've ever been in. So yeah, I think the main thing that I'm trying to conquer, there's all these little things that I have to learn, like the snubber business. I don't know if I got it right. But it's overall the biggest mission that I have is to get over the anxiety associated with all this stuff, you know, and just build up that confidence so that I feel at home out here and not just like on edge and anxious. You notice I didn't eat much, you know, like I forced myself to eat a little bit, but I'm just trying to get used to the idea of being on a boat. Just relaxing on a boat and just feeling at home on the boat is the goal. So thanks very much for watching. To all my patrons out there who are helping me along this crazy adventure, thank you so much. I super appreciate it. Please take the time to click the like button or the subscribe button or leave a comment. All that stuff helps out. From Bodega Bay, California, thanks for watching.